Between 1960 and 1980, rock music didn't just evolve, it detonated. From the British invasion to acid-drenched psychedelia to the raw fury of punk, these 20 years were the most dangerous and unforgettable era in music history.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
This is Rock&Riffs, and today we're counting down the top 10 greatest rock albums from 1960 to 1980. Real stories, real facts, moments of genius nobody planned. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. Number 10, Pearl, Janis Joplin, 1971. Me and Bobby McGee. Janis Joplin recorded the vocals for Me and Bobby McGee on October 1st, 1970.
A very good songwriter, and it's gonna be
3 days later, she was dead. Found in a Hollywood hotel room at just 27 years old, Janis never lived to hear her own album.
Bobby sang the blues.
Pearl was released 4 months after her death, and it shot straight to number 1. The song itself was written by Chris Christopherson, a then unknown songwriter who was also working as a janitor in a Nashville recording studio by day.
Busted flat in Baton Rouge, waiting.
Janis heard a rough demo, fell completely in love with it, and made it entirely her own. Her version wasn't polished, it wasn't perfect, it was raw, it was real, it was her. What makes Me and Bobby McGee one of the most haunting records in rock history isn't just the melody. It's the unbearable irony of hearing someone sing about freedom, total open road freedom from a woman who would never be free again.
Windshield wipers slapping timers.
The last vocal she ever recorded, the last breath of a voice that had given everything it had to rock and roll. Number 9, The Doors, 1967. Light My Fire. In the summer of 1966, a 20-year-old guitarist named Robbie Krieger sat down and wrote Light My Fire in under 20 minutes.
Oh, baby, light my fire.
He had just joined a band of misfits from Los Angeles who rehearsed in a garage and had a frontman who quoted Nietzsche between cigarette drags. That band was The Doors, and nothing would ever be the same.
China, we can only lose.
The Doors' self-titled debut album was recorded in just 6 days in August 1966. In 6 days.
Try to set the night off.
And somewhere inside those 6 days, they captured something electric. A song that opens like a jazz improvisation, builds like a sermon, and explodes like a riot. Jim Morrison famously insisted the organ break needed to breathe, to stretch out into something almost hypnotic.
Try to set the night off.
That instinct made it a 7-minute masterpiece. When Light My Fire was released as a single in 1967,
No time to wallow in the mire.
the label cut it to under 3 minutes for radio. It still hit number 1, but the full-length album version, that organ solo stretching into something bordering on religious. That's the version that changed what rock music was allowed to sound like, forever. Number 8, Disraeli Gears, Cream, 1967. Sunshine of Your Love. In September 1966, Cream, Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce, and Ginger Baker went to see Jimi Hendrix play his first ever London show. Hendrix walked onto that stage and destroyed every assumption anyone had about what a guitar could do. By the time Clapton walked off that stage, he was shaken to his core. He reportedly turned to his bandmates and said, "That guy is better than me." Jack Bruce went home that same night, still wired from what he'd witnessed. He sat at his bass in the early hours of the morning and came up with the riff. To be where I'm going. That descending, pounding, primordial bass line that would become Sunshine of Your Love. Clapton heard it the next morning and knew immediately, this is the one. To give him my dog surprise. The song appeared on Disraeli Gears, and released in November 1967. An album recorded in 11 days in New York City. No time, no overthinking. Just three of the most gifted musicians alive, playing in a room together. Sunshine of Your Love didn't just influence hard rock, it invented the blueprint that every guitar-driven band after them would spend decades trying to replicate. If you're enjoying this, subscribe to Rock&Riffs right now. You won't regret it. Number 7. Abraxas, Santana, 1970. Black Magic Woman. Here's something most people don't know. Black Magic Woman was not originally a Santana song. It was written in 1968 by a British blues guitarist named Peter Green for a little band you might have heard of called Fleetwood Mac.
You just might pick up my magic sticks.
The original was good. What Carlos Santana did to it was transcendent.
She tried to make a devil out of me.
When Carlos first heard Peter Green's version, he heard something underneath it, a Latin pulse and a mystical groove that the original had never reached for. So he slowed it down, wrapped it in congas and timbals, fused it seamlessly with a Cuban jazz piece called Gypsy Queen, and turned it into something that belonged to no genre on earth.
Magic woman, got a black man.
Abraxas, released in 1970, was Santana's second album.
With your tricks. Don't turn your,
And it went straight to number 1 on the Billboard 200.
turn your back on the paper.
It stayed on the charts for 88 weeks. The cover, an abstract oil painting depicting mysticism and raw sensuality, was nearly banned.
Got me so blind I can't see.
But nothing about Santana was ever meant to be quiet. Black Magic Woman didn't cross genre boundaries. It dissolved them entirely. Number 6. London Calling. The Clash. 1979. London Calling. It was 1979, and the Clash were broke. Their label was suffocating them, their equipment was falling apart, and Britain's economy was in free fall. Unemployment was through the roof. Nuclear anxiety was everywhere. And Joe Strummer sat down and wrote a warning, a scream, a song called London Calling. The title was taken directly from the BBC World Service radio broadcast. The same cold, authoritative voice that announced global emergencies during World War II. Strummer borrowed that weight and injected it with punk fury. The song references nuclear meltdowns, rising floodwaters, and an incoming ice age. Imagery that felt apocalyptic in 1979 and reads like prophecy today. London Calling was released as a double album, 4 sides of vinyl, and sold at the price of a single album. The Clash fought their label hard for that. They wanted it affordable. No, they wanted it in every young person's hands. I live by the river. The cover, a photograph of bassist Paul Simonon destroying his guitar on stage at the New York Palladium, was named the greatest rock album cover of all time by Rolling Stone magazine. Raw power, captured in one frame. Number 5. Toys in the Attic. Aerosmith, 1975. Walk This Way. In 1975, Aerosmith were young, loud, and completely out of money. They locked themselves into a studio in Boston and started recording their 3rd album, Toys in the Attic. Nobody was expecting a classic. Even Aerosmith themselves didn't know they were building something that would outlast them all. The story of Walk This Way starts with drummer Joey Kramer. He came up with a groove inspired by the New Orleans funk band The Meters, staccato, syncopated, more James Brown than Led Zeppelin. Joe Perry laid a riff on top of it. Then Steven Tyler, standing backstage at a show that same night, watching a burlesque dancer perform, scribbled every single lyric on his hand, in one standing. But here's the detail that makes the story legendary. During a late-night recording session, the band couldn't remember how the riff actually began. They had to rewind the tape and reconstruct it one note at a time. That barely remembered riff went on to be sampled by Run DMC in 1986. And that collaboration launched hip-hop and rock into the same universe for the very first time in history. Number 4. Hotel California. Eagles, 1976. Hotel California. Please bring me my wine. Don Felder was sitting alone in a rented beach house in Malibu in 1974 when he started playing a guitar figure he couldn't fully explain. Mirrors on the ceiling, the big champagne. 2 guitars weaving around each other like a conversation. Warm, mysterious, slightly threatening. Welcome to the Hotel California. He recorded a demo on a cassette tape, labeled it Mexican Reggae, and sent it to the rest of the Eagles with no idea what it would become. The lyrics that Don Henley eventually wrote for Hotel California are some of the most debated in rock history. Is it about the dark side of fame, the death of the American dream, heroin addiction, a literal hotel on the California coast? Henley has said the song is about a journey from innocence to experience, but he's also admitted the meaning is deliberately ambiguous. He wanted every listener to project their own version of excess onto it. The guitar solo at the end played by Don Felder and Joe Walsh together, was tracked in a single afternoon.
There's plenty of room at the Hotel California.
16 individual parts, layered into what Guitar World magazine called one of the greatest solos ever committed to tape.
This could be bad. Could you lift up?
Hotel California sold over 32 million copies worldwide. And that guitar figure, Don Felder, played alone in a beach house on a cassette tape for no one. It became immortal. Number 3, Machine Head, Deep Purple, 1972. Smoke on the Water. On December 3rd, 1971, Deep Purple arrived in Montreux, Switzerland. Ready to record their new album using the Rolling Stones' famous mobile recording unit. They had the equipment, they had the studio time. What they had not accounted for was the fire. That night, a fan in the audience fired a flare gun during a Frank Zappa concert at the Montreux Casino.
Burn down the gambling house.
The ceiling caught. The entire building burned to the ground. Deep Purple watched from their hotel windows across the water, smoke rolling across the surface of Lake Geneva in the moonlight.
When it all was over.
Bassist Roger Glover woke the next morning with a single phrase in his head: smoke on the water. With the casino destroyed, Deep Purple scrambled desperately for a place to record. They tried a local hotel, the Grand Hotel, but residents threw them out within days for being too loud. Finally, they ended up in an empty casino ballroom. No soundproofing, no acoustic treatment. Just a band setting up in a bare room and playing that raw, thundering guitar intro you hear on Smoke on the Water. That wasn't engineered. That was survival. And it became one of the most recognizable riffs ever played on a guitar, in any genre, anywhere in the world. Number 2, Are You Experienced? The Jimi Hendrix Experience, 1967. Purple Haze. Jimi Hendrix wrote Purple Haze on December 26, 1966, the day after Christmas, in the dressing room of a London club. He scribbled the lyrics on a napkin, not a notebook, not a legal pad, a napkin. The whole thing came out in one sitting, inspired by a dream he'd had about walking underwater. That dream became one of the greatest rock songs in human history. The distorted, a feedback-drenched guitar tone on Purple Haze was not fully planned. Hendrix had been experimenting with a device called a fuzz face, a primitive distortion pedal combined with a wah-wah pedal used in ways nobody had ever attempted before. The opening chord, that dissonant tritone that hits you the moment the song begins, was so unusual that his producer almost asked him to change it. Hendrix refused. He said, "That's the whole point." Are You Experienced was released in May 1967 and was blocked from the #1 spot in the UK by only one thing. The Beatles released Sgt. Pepper's the exact same week. Think about that. One of the most revolutionary debut albums ever made.
Many things don't seem the same.
And it lost the top chart position to the other most revolutionary album of that year. In America, it stayed on the Billboard chart for 106 weeks. 2 years before that recording, Jimi Hendrix was completely unknown outside of Seattle. 2 years. Number 1. Abbey Road, The Beatles, 1969. Come Together. By 1969, the Beatles were falling apart. John, Paul, George, and Ringo could barely be in the same room without an argument erupting. The Let It Be sessions had been a public disaster. Every tension caught on camera for the world to see. Nobody, not the label, not the press, not even the fans, believed they had one more great album left in them. Nobody. But then producer George Martin received a call from Paul McCartney. One more, let's do one properly. And they walked back into Abbey Road Studios and made magic. John Lennon wrote Come Together after a phone call from Timothy Leary, a psychedelic counterculture icon running for governor of California, who asked Lennon to write him a campaign song. Lennon sat down, started playing, and what came out had nothing to do with politics. It had everything to do with power. The song opens with a bass line so deep and hypnotic, it arrests you before the first word is sung. But Lennon recorded his vocals with his mouth pressed almost against the microphone. So close you can hear every click of his tongue. He wanted it intimate. He wanted it uncomfortable. The nonsensical lyrics are built from real people. John himself, Yoko Ono, George Harrison, even Little Richard. It's a group portrait disguised as a fever dream. Abbey Road, released September 1969, became the best-selling Beatles album of all time. They shot the iconic cover. 4 men walking across a zebra crossing in silence, with no permits, no permission, not even stopping traffic.
Come together.
Just 4 people who knew they would never all walk together again. Come Together wasn't just a song. It was a goodbye dressed up as a groove. And decades later, it remains one of the most spine-chilling album openings in the entire history of rock.